Okay, now my 300 is plugged in to the brand new Ikon, not the one that I currently fly with. That way I don't have to really mess with too many things. Everything's jiggling around right now because that's hanging off. So you can now at this point jump directly to the swash menu. And what the swash menu does is it locks everything for you and only allows center, high, and low. The very first step before you do any servo reversing or anything in your radio is you just want to pump the collective, and you want to get the swash plate moving all the right direction. Right now it's wrong. So what you do is, on the servo reverse right here, just pump the swash the whole time, push the servo reverse until you get it the way you want it to go. Now it goes exactly the way I want it to go. The next step would be to check all your cyclic. Make sure your cyclic goes the right direction. Every single Ikon I've ever set up, you have to reverse your elevator in the radio. The aileron's correct, but the elevator isn't, as well as the rudder's backwards. Your helicopter may vary, make sure you check that, but at this point is a good time to check your cyclic direction. Next up, you would take the head, or you would start this before it's built. You'd put the swash leveler on there, and one servo at a time, you can sub-trim them to set the swash height, or if you want to perfect the 90. Either or, this is where you adjust each servo. If you're unsure of which one is which, you can go backwards to this page and it'll tell you. Your elevator is going to be number 1. This servo right here is number 2. Number 3 is this one back here. So when you're in the setup, let me go back. Setup, those are accordingly. Now you have your collective pitch adjustment as well as your cyclic pitch adjustment. You can run any amount of pitch you want. For the cyclic, Luca recommends running 10.5 degrees. And the way to check that is at mid-stick, it locks it. You put your pitch gauge on there, roll it over, and just check aileron. No need to check elevator or anything else. It does both. Your next step is going to be your tail direction. Now, you need to grab the boom and move the heli back and forth and make sure that the tail servo is going in the right direction for the compensation. If it's not, you reverse the servo here before you do it in your radio. So currently mine's backwards. I'm going to reverse it. Now it's going the right direction. If you want to see it move more, the best way would be to go into the next screen. The next screen, everything is live. That way you can check which direction it's going. Now, remember I was saying you have to reverse some things in the radio. This particular model, the way mine's set up, yours may vary. For right rudder to work correctly and left rudder to work correctly, I had to reverse them in the radio. Then, after you reverse them in the radio, you want to set your endpoints. So hold right rudder, set that endpoint all the way until it just touches the tail case, back it off 1 or 2 points depending on what you need. Same goes for left. Go as far as you can to get maximum throw, and then back off once you've achieved maximum throw. At this point, you have the option to add pitch pre-compensation, cyclic pre-compensation. I recommend leaving that off until you've flown it a few times to get a feel for it, and then go from there. Other people may tune differently. From this point on, you tell it how you're mounting it. Mine is top up, wires backwards, which would be this one. Depending on how you mount yours, it could be different. If you're using auto level, now would be a good time to set level on a perfectly level surface. This is how the helicopter is going to recover once you activate it if you're using it. I don't use it, so I skip that step. Next step is your governor. If you're using it, I don't use the internal governor. Now, you pick the size. 250 size works great for me, always has on these. It has very good presets on it. Go from there. On the next spot is your bank switching. Now, in order to do this, on Spectrum, for example, you need to use the governor. And in the governor, you need to, I'm not sure if you can see that, position 0 needs to be -100, position 1 needs to be 0, position 2 needs to be +100. Assign it to any switch you want. I like rudder dual rate because my finger can just be right there when I'm flying, and it lets you cycle through each one of your banks for switching. Now, I fly the 3D presets and find them to be pretty spot on, a little tuning from there required. Depending on how you want to fly, sport and beginner might be a good idea to start with. Go from there so it doesn't react too fast for you. After this setup and you fly it, if you have any sort of cyclic shaking, any light bobbling, You can do minor adjustments here on this cyclic gain, as well as you can mess around with the agility from there. It's very basic, but it'll get you started. The last page, you want to make sure you double check all of your servo tilting directions to make sure everything works the way it should before your pre-flight. After you're done flying it, you have the option, once you want to start tuning things, you can go into the advanced section. Under the common tab, if you go down to servos, this is where it comes very handy. If you find out you have too much negative pitch and not enough positive pitch, and you want to even things out, you need to do all three evenly. You have servo 1, 2, and 3 are your cyclic, servo 4 is your tail. Leave that one alone. Do 1 through 3 if you want more positive pitch but you're happy with your negative. Raise it about 20 to 30 each try and recheck it until you get it exactly where you want it. Again, keeping it even. And if you're extremely picky about things, you can even take the head off and check with a swash leveler once you're close and precisely get the throws all perfectly even. From there, you have your different banks. You have bank 1, 2, and 3 here. On your input section, that's basically your predetermined expo and other things that are in there from the factory that you can change, but are set up pretty well. In the tail, you have all your PID tuning here, and as well as you have your rotational speed. If you want it faster, you want it slower, and the presets aren't making you happy, go with this one. Start upping it, start lowering it. Don't do too much at a time. Nice thing about bank switching, you can do 3 different setups and try it in flight until you get what you want. Same thing goes for cyclic, only in the newer update. You can adjust aileron and elevator rotational speeds independently from each other. So if you want one faster than the other, depending on your flying, you can do that. As well as you have all your PID tuning here, and you have your agility and tail drag compensation, which is a new feature in the newest update. If you are running a governor, or auto level, this is where you can start tuning that. It does have a flight counter right here. It keeps track of your flying, as well as it keeps track of your flying times on it. Pretty cool feature. Once you're ready to fly, unplug everything, make sure you do double checks on everything, and enjoy.